Welcome to CGI U Stories 2011. We're here at the University of California at San Diego, and I'm joined by two of our commitment makers, Sarina Hickey and Pegah Javidpour. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
So first off, tell me where you guys are coming, where are you joining us from?
Well, we both are from Texas. We went to the University of Texas at Austin. I'm coming from Dallas.
I'm coming from Houston.
Okay, great. And what's your commitment this year?
So everybody eats vegetables, right? What a lot of people don't understand is that migrant farm workers handpick 80% of all the vegetables that we eat. And if you can think about your childhood summers, if you can imagine spending your childhood summer in a hot, pesticide-ridden field handpicking vegetables, you would think, no way do I want to spend my summer doing that. But the reality is that approximately 255,000 children migrate with their families every year from the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas across the United States to work on these farms and handpick these vegetables. The problem is that when these students migrate, their education is interrupted.
So to make it a little more tangible, we could walk you through a student like Luis. Luis is from the Valley of South Texas, and he left his school year last year in March. And he traveled up to Michigan with his family, farmed throughout the summer, and had to start a new school in Michigan in August. He was there for a couple months, but then October, when the crop season was over, had to come back to the Valley, re-enroll in his home school. But by mid-October, all the honors courses are full. He could only enroll in remedial courses, and then because state curriculum is not aligned, his credits wouldn't even transfer. So you can see that as a student, this is really frustrating. So a lot of migrants end up dropping out of high school, and the few that do go on or do graduate have a hard time entering college because of the credits. And so we have founded a nonprofit organization called Bridge, which stands for Building Roads for Individuals, dedicated to growth and education. Wow. And it's three small programs to make a comprehensive safety net. The first one is a Summer of Learning, which we actually started last July, where we bring students from across Texas to the Valley to build awareness of the situation. Because we're both from Texas,
yeah.
And we didn't even really realize the problem existed until we were in college, where we met migrants. Mm-hmm. And so after we built this awareness, this year we're starting a college prep program where we get college migrants mentoring 8th grade migrant students. And mainly because in 8th grade, the students are physically big enough to create a lot of income for their families. So they are faced with this decision to drop out because it's like, wow, I can get immediate income for my pockets.
And you're an 8th grader.
And they don't see kind of the long term of why you should stay in education and forego that income for the meantime. And then these two programs are kind of the stepping stones for our ultimate capstone, which is our accelerated academic program.
Right, and that's an accelerated curriculum, which is basically our capstone product for organization. It can be easily implemented into any school where there's a large migrant student population. And basically this program requires a teacher to ensure that these students are getting the same curriculum, the same education within 6 months while they're in Texas versus the traditional 9-month school year, because these kids are only there for 6 months. So it's great because, they're also able to uphold their familial responsibilities by migrating with their families across the United States. So we're not taking them away from that, but this time, it's not at the expense of their education. So they still get their school year.
That's terrific. Do you have any sort of outstanding stories of some of these folks that either the mentors or the mentees that you could share?
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about the last summer when we visited the migrant students? You want to talk about Luis?
Yeah. It's actually Luis. Yeah. The reason we kind of talk about him is because when we went, so I'm a current teacher, I'm a full-time teacher at a charter school in Houston, and I brought my students down to the Valley to build this awareness. And, as a teacher, we keep talking about why you need to go to college, don't complain about homework. And there was a panel of migrant farm workers, and Luis just stood out so much because he was just on fire. He just had this passion and energy for education because of people he saw in his family who were never able to attain it. And because of the mentors he had in his life, uncles, people within his family that truly put him on this path of success, that he could note the exact people in his life that if they weren't there, and this is maybe 2 or 3, it wasn't like a lot of people, that if they weren't there, he would not be at the University of Texas Pan American at this time, and where, we had a room of 13 to 15, we had 13 to 15 high school students in there that some of them are in tears at this moment, like, I'm never going to complain about my homework again.
Yeah, and you think about it, like, when you're in 8th grade, I mean, the last thing you want to think about is doing homework. But when you meet somebody who has sacrificed, their family and themselves have sacrificed so much to go to school, it really puts into perspective, maybe I shouldn't care that much about XYZ. Like, my future is the most important thing. And these people have done everything they possibly can to get this, so I need to stop complaining. It really just kind of wakes them up a little bit before they get into high school.
And within these panels as well, I think what really resonates is a lot of them can't talk about their background without getting really emotional. Even if they weren't in the field, some stories we've heard starting at the ages of 8, they're taking care of siblings. They're cooking for their families, for the people old enough to be in the field, and just to know that you're going through that, and it's survival at that point. It's not education, and framing it. So a lot of those stories really stick with us and stick with the students we take down there to fuel us for why we're doing this and kind of why our organization exists.
That's great. What do you need next to sort of continue on a successful path?
It's the most important question for us. I think, we've got the Summer of Learning already established. And this summer, as Pegah mentioned, we're putting together that college prep program, which is the mentor program. Our next step, and really, like I said, the capstone product for organization is this accelerated academic program. And we really need a dedicated teacher who can be in the Valley at one of our pilot schools, who can focus on this group and basically get this curriculum established for the 6 months versus the 9 months. So we need a teacher. We obviously need money to put that into place, but I think the number one thing is the actual curriculum.
Because what we're planning to do, and the timeline is for this upcoming year to develop the curriculum and to pilot it. We already have established a relationship with a charter school down there that's willing to implement it, but have that as a pilot year. But that person is down, literally in the field work, doing this work. So that we knock out the kinks before we roll it out to a district or to all the schools. And so that would be the pressing need right now.
What do you hope to get out of the experience at CGI U this year? Are you looking forward to anything? Have you met anyone already that you...
I think the biggest thing that CGI U allows for us is the networking that you can, so many students from across the nation are, and although we're doing a million different kinds of projects, we're all pulled together because of the same commitment we have to those projects. And already, just getting ideas. And
last night I met a group of guys who basically were giving me an idea about implementing technology into this program. When these students, when they migrate across the United States, a big problem and why they're so forgotten is nobody can keep track of them. So nobody has any idea where they go because they don't even really know where they're going to go until they get there. And they see, there's not enough crops here. We need to go to Michigan instead of Wisconsin, And so being able to track those students, I think, would help a lot. And so just being able to have that dialogue with people who are not in education, who maybe are in technology or maybe in healthcare, like, you never know where you can get that next idea.
Sometimes those synergies happen in the places you least expect as well. So I think that's what's exciting about sort of the marketplace at CGI.
Yeah, we agree.
Well, thank you both and enjoy your time.
Thank you
so much.
Thanks a lot.